Hey guys, so I'm going to build a Fuigo. That's box bellows, and in the description I'll put links to another person's plans. I kind of made those plans a little bigger. I just added length to it. So I'm just going to go through the cutting process, take you part by part. For this particular one, I may change it in the future. You can change it for however you need it. But this is going to be the bottom. It's going to be 19 inches wide and 36 inches long. This is just Luan plywood. I just tried to get the smoothest wood I could get. You could also use 2x12s or something. As long as you get it fairly flat, you can use whatever wood you want. But by having one piece for the sides and stuff, you're going to have less seams and therefore less air leakage or less stuff you have to steal. So be right back. This is the back of the Fuigo. It's 20 inches tall and then 34 inches long, so that it sets inside the base about an inch on each side. This is the kind of front of the Fuigo. It's 20 by 34 as well, but there's an inch and 11/16 cut in on both sides, and then a 3-inch air hole for the air to come through on both sides. So on this part, I need to make an angle cut. Basically, on one side it needs to go up 8 inches, and then on the other side it needs to go up 8.5 inches. So you need to have about, I don't know, 45-degree angle coming up through the wood, so that on one side is 8.5 inches high, and then the other half is 8 inches high. So it's a little less than 45, probably like a 31-degree angle. But I just cut it with a hand saw, and hopefully it'll fit. If not, I'll try and fill the gap with some silicone or something like that. So these are the sides. They're about 10 inches. They're 10 inches wide here. Then they're 14 and 11/16 inches here. Basically, it's 14 inches at the bottom plus the thickness of a board, because the front's going to be here. It's going to sit right here. And then 10 inches for the inside of the Fuigo. This is a 3-4-5 triangle. So it's 5 inches. It's actually 5.5 inches here because of the thickness of the board. But after the thickness of the board, it's a 3-4-5 triangle. So it's 4 inches this way, 3 inches up, and then 5 inches on the hypotenuse. And then on the left side, I'm going to drill out 1 1/4 inch hole with basically the handle to the baffle, and then I'm going to chisel out a 4-inch hole here to let air in on each side. So I got a 4-inch hole here, 4-inch hole there. So this is the side. going to make a knife wall. Around the edge. Okay, so I chiseled out all the holes. I have a 4-inch hole in each of the end plates for the intakes, and then a 3-inch hole for the outtakes to the air duct. Basically, that'll be out here, and that'll direct the air into the forge. So this is what I call the front, and these are the two sides of the body.
Here I just drilled out an 1.25 inch hole for the piston shaft.
So I'm going to make the one-way valves now. I'm just going to use 2 layers of burlap as the seal, and I'm going to have just a piece of wood over here screwed into the other side, and have this be able to bend black this way. So I need a burlap to come over basically, so I can screw it from this side or from the edges, so that the face will be flat.
For this one that I recorded, I screwed the burlap into the sides of the plywood. In the later ones, I added excess burlap so I could fold it over the top and then screw down from the face of the plywood, which is a stronger combination.
Okay, so I'm just going to screw this piece into this board up here, and hopefully you can see that good old hinge like this to let the air in, and then just fall down, and we push down to keep the air inside of it. I'm just going to try and line it up so that it's even on all sides. And screw it in.
Here I'm just filing down the cut I've made so that it'll fit with very little gap.
So for the front out air thing, I'm using a 1.5 inch size pipe, and this is a 2.25 inch hole, and if it's just a little loose, I'll probably just wrap it in some tape, and that should be good enough. And I'm gonna have a single port out here and then 2 ports over here with valves, so I can use one for most of the time, and then 3 some at a time, like when heat treating longer blades. So that's the front of the thing.
Here I'm just squaring everything up, and then I'm starting to screw the sides and the front together, as well as the back. Here I'm just marking the bottom so that I can drill it out and screw it from the bottom later. And here I'm putting the front of the airbox on with some screws. I just used a 1x6 piece of wood for this one, and I cut it at the 30-degree angle that the side is cut at. Here I'm drilling through the bottom so that I can screw up from the bottom and secure the top portion to the base.
So I got most of the box done. I just need to sand the edges so it's all flat, and then I'm gonna drill and put some all thread and the tops to hold the top on, and that's pretty much it for right now. So I'm going to use some 5-minute epoxy, and then just epoxy some all thread into the top so that the top will, you can screw the top down real easy and take it off easier than having it screwed down or anything. So here's the baffle that I've created. I've got just an extra supporting piece right here out of the same plywood that I used, and this will go the 1 1/4 inch dowel rod will go in here, and come in here, and this has about an 1/8 inch gap in the middle and a little over 1/4 inch gap at the end, because it's bowed in a little right here, so it's smaller right here, but I'm gonna cover it in some fake fur, just some fake fur that I got, and hopefully that'll smooth the back and forth motion and kind of act like a seal. You don't really want it, from what I've seen, to be really tight, because then you can't really push it along. So I think the fur, or at least the fake fur that I'm using, will create enough of a seal that it'll glide and work really well.
Here I just added a screw to the baffle so that the piston won't fall off of the baffle.
So I've got the Fuigo bolted together. Got the top screwed down, and I'm gonna test it out real quick. So let's try it out. Well, it's definitely working. Getting a lot of air out of here. There is a little bit of air escaping when the air is pushed over here, but it's very little. I'm sure there's some, yeah, just a little bit escaping over there. I'm sure if you use the rubber over burlap, it would work. There would be a total seal, but I mean, seeing how much air is coming out of here, there's a lot of air coming out of there. So I don't think anything. I think the burlap is just going to work real fine, just fine. And if I need to upgrade to rubber or something in the future, I'm sure it's going to be okay. So over here, looking at how far the intake, it's a 4" by 4" intake is opening. It's only opening about maybe an inch. So I'm sure you could go down to a 3" intake and be just fine for this size of Fuigo. It's a 20 by 10" baffle, and then the 3" outtake or the outputs are probably just fine too. And this is a 1.5" pipe, and it's working real well. I'm probably going to polish up this surface and sand on the inside of the handle part. But right now it's working real well. There's a lot of air coming out. And I'm sure it's going to be just fine for what I need.